Hey, what's up everybody? Gilbert Blaze is back with another video. Now, today's topic I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time now, and that's gays and wrestling. Now, recently, as we all know, Orlando Jordan debuted a new gimmick, a bisexual gimmick, which is pretty much a part of who he is in real life because he came out as bisexual. Now, I recently did a Q&A session asking people, give me questions, and about, I would say, 30 of the questions that I got was all wanting to know what I thought about Orlando Jordan. So I figured, let me just make a whole video about this because I've been wanting to talk about this now since he came out. So let's begin. Pro wrestling and stereotypes have been hand in hand since the beginning of pro wrestling started. We all know that the gay stereotype of pro wrestling characters is always going to be extremely flamboyant, very over the top, super high maintenance, and very eccentric. So this Orlando's new gimmick doesn't really bother me in a sense because I figured I'm so used of seeing these stereotypes always in pro wrestling that you get used to it after a while. Pro wrestling in general, whether it's the black stereotype of seeing a thug or a rapper or some kind of sporty gimmick for a black superstar or a black wrestler, or you have the Middle Eastern wrestler that's always anti-American and they're like always heels. Then you got the Russians that are always anti-American, always heels. You have the Asian wrestlers that are always like martial artists. So it's like the stereotypes that falls for each kind of like race in general are always there in pro wrestling. So for gay gimmicks, it doesn't surprise me that Orlando Jordan has came out with this eccentric gimmick. A lot of people are really disliking it. They're saying that it's a very bad thing, and as I see it, in the one sense it's bad because people that don't know homosexuals, that never seen a gay person, they just go by what they see on the media, and the media is always portraying gay people as very flamboyant, very feminine, and if they see that portrayal, then they're going to obviously think that, well, all gay men act like that, and that's not true. All gay men don't act like that. So recently I went to outsports.com, and Outsports is basically a website where gay men go to discuss about sports. Orlando Jordan did an interview with outsports.com, the editor there, and I wanted to show you all the interview that he did. It's going to be underneath the description box, so you can all check that out. And I thought it was a pretty interesting read because he talks about being out and open as bisexual, but he also talks about wanting to make a difference and maybe helping out gay and questioning youth. Now, this gives me a really good story to tell because back in the mid-90s when Goldust first came out, I was about I was in my teens, but at that time I still wasn't out of the closet. And when I was a young kid, I was very feminine, I had a high-pitched voice, very shy and sheltered, and so I was getting picked on and bullied a lot in school. So when I first saw Goldust came out, and at that time I didn't have a computer, I didn't know he was Dusty Rhodes' son, I was a total mark, so I really bought into the whole Goldust character. I saw a person that was feminine and flamboyant and attracted to guys, yet the crowd hated his guts. They said all kinds of names to him. They spit on him. They threw all kinds of stuff at him. They had so much hatred for him. And at the time, kids were really cruel to me. So I really related to Goldust. I thought I saw myself in him, and I really just latched on to his character. And it really meant a lot to me to see what he went through and to see that maybe I'm not alone. There's more people like me out there. And sure enough, even though he was just portraying a character, at the time I didn't know it, but it really helped me out a lot in my childhood. So when Orlando Jordan talked about wanting to help gay youth, and I thought, that's a very important statement to say. For him to say that, that means he's taking a whole other character in a sense, because he has, when certain people do a portrayal on television of a character, they feel like they owe it to their community to like upstand this character because it's going to be something that's very helpful, and it's going to be something that's going to be looked as, well, he or she has to do this the right way because their communities are depending on it. So for Orlando Jordan to make a statement that he wants to help gay youth out, that's very big of him because that means he's putting on a lot of pressure in himself, that he has this character that's out and open about being himself, and for kids to see that and to be like, well, you know what? If he's out and open, then that means I can be out and open, and that sends a really good message there. So in that sense, I do like that he's doing this. Even though he's flamboyant, even though he's over the top, it's something that's expected in pro wrestling. It's something that I can't get mad at, because for the simple fact that stereotype has always been around. Whether it's Gorgeous George, who kind of created the whole feminine character, Adrian Streets in the 80s. Then you had Goldust, then you had Rico, then you had the whole characters of Billy and Chuck. I mean, gay stereotypes have always been around, and that's just something that is going to be there in pro wrestling and will never ever change. So I'm curious to know, what are all of your thoughts about this? Can gay men be in pro wrestling? Can gay men be out and open and be in pro wrestling? Now, Pat Patterson is probably the only openly gay former pro wrestler that I know of. Don't know if he was out and open during his career, but definitely he was out and open after his career. So as of him, and probably Orlando Jordan now, who has become basically the first openly bisexual wrestler in American history, I would assume, because I've never seen an openly bisexual wrestler before. So Orlando Jordan has that precedence of being that person. Now, Canyon, who I recently talked about, who recently passed away, who I consider a friend of mine, he actually went to the WWE and offered to do a portrayal of a gay character, and they turned him down. And he also went to TNA, he told me, with a gay character, openly gay character gimmick, and they turned him down. Unfortunately, at that time, I guess they weren't ready for it. But I am happy that TNA is ready to have an openly bisexual character on television, which shows that, yes, they want attention. They want to see if they can get the ratings up, so they're going to try to do whatever they take to have people tune in. Now, whether it's good or bad attention, it's attention regardless. So I guess Orlando Jordan's doing a good job, because they recently signed him to a multi-year contract with TNA, so he's going to be around for a few more years in TNA. So it's just a very interesting perception of what people think is good or bad, especially in terms of gay characters in the media. But in pro wrestling, unfortunately, you have had that stereotype. It's never going to change. And if it's done, I wouldn't say in a tasteful way, but if it's done in a way where the character, the person that's being the character, will be like, look, this is what I want to do with the character, then it all depends. And for Orlando Jordan to say that he wants to help gay youth out, then I can really respect that about him. So I'm curious to know, all y'all, what do you think about gay characters in wrestling? Do you think openly gay men and women can be pro wrestlers and be a main eventer? Honestly, I don't think that can happen, because for the simple fact there's a lot of politics involved. I don't see them ever being like big time main eventers, but they have their presence in pro wrestling itself. So I was just wanting to talk about that. I know I can ramble on and on about this, but because I got asked so many questions on this topic alone, I figured let me just do a whole video about it. So that's what I have to say for now. Hope you all having a great week. Talk to y'all later. Peace.